2023 marks the 100th anniversary of Farmall, but Robert Griggs from right here in Maryland, you've got an international tractor that predates the Farmall.
It's called the 1530 Titan, which preceded those tractors, but I think within 2 years then they turned to the Farmall.
And so tell us what year this tractor is and just a little bit about it.
It's a 1919. I bought it at an Allman Auctions in South Dakota. Been sitting in the prairie field for 20 years, and like a fool, I took my trailer. So when you take your trailer to the auction, you usually buy them.
Yeah, that's kind of like going into an auction. I'm not really going to buy them, I'm just going to look, but I do have the trailer here.
So while I'm here, I might as well take it home. I had talked to Kurt about it several times. I have my grandfather's 1020 Titan, so the 1530 fit in the barn with it. He described it to a T for me, told me what it was and exactly what it was, so I went and got it, and it took me about 2 years to get it to this condition.
Did you know when you saw it, even before the bidding started, that you really wanted to take it home?
Yeah, I did, but I had a number, and I got right to that number. But my son was home working, so I figured I had a little resource. So we bid one more time and got it, and down the road we came.
What do you like about buying a classic tractor at an auction?
Gosh, I think, you know, everybody has what they want and really what they see in it. This tractor, as Kurt told me, the sheet metal was all complete, and that's the hardest thing for somebody like me to find, the sheet metal. The mechanical work you can all have done. So the motor was stuck. It was my son called it the Prairie Dog Motel. My shop stunk for 2 weeks, but once you get the mechanicals done, the sheet metal was all there. So really a lot of it wasn't hard. It just was time consuming.
And now this tractor is 104 years old, and you made it look like new.
Yeah, and I hope my family keeps it.
What do you like about driving the Titan 1530?
It's just the noise. They're really what they were nicknamed the Flaming Four. And if you hear it, it sounds like it's popping and cracking. It's really got 4 gas carburetors. It's got a carburetor for each cylinder. It was very unusual. And it's a constant channel. You get them hot, you change them. You get them cold, you change them. So you got to tinker with it all day long, but it's what it is.
Yeah, it's not the easiest tractor to drive and keep running.
No, but it's fun. Once you get it tuned in, and Wendell Kelch out in Ohio helped me a lot with that, and he's done several of these, so he gave me a lot of pointers. And once you kind of get them set, they stay that way. So it's good.
Where do you think that Flaming Four name came from?
You hear that popping and cracking? If you get it out of kilter with one of them carburetors, it'll spit fire. And so that's where that came from.
Yeah. So this tractor, do you know any of the history? I know you picked it up in South Dakota. Do you know how it was used or where it farmed?
Yes, and the interesting thing, the day I bought this, there was 2 sons of the man that owned it. And they even had pictures. He had moved from North Dakota down there and bought a farm, and that's how it was in that area. They actually came to Tuckahoe 3 years ago to drive it. So that's neat. I mean, that's family tradition. They wanted to buy it, but couldn't. But yet they came here from South Dakota to drive it.
They came all the way across the country, and yeah, they must have just loved that you had done what you did with it.
And one of the big things, if you see that hook on the front where my crank is, they told me that their grandfather was a blacksmith and he made that hook. They never knew why, and my thing to them, I'll never take it off. Leave it there.
So back in 1919, what do you think a farmer like this gentleman would have really appreciated about the Flaming Four, this Titan?
Horsepower. But it had good horsepower, but yet it was small enough to get around. It wouldn't be like a large steam engine. So I think in some small areas and fields and stuff, they were able to run these in the smaller, like the 1020s and these 1530s. A lot of the Hart Pars and those that were good for smaller farms, and yet they could plow. So they had good horsepower, but yet they could get around.
This was a lot of competition for the steam engines that were out there.
A lot. This kind of kicked them to the back curb.
Yeah. So this one says on the side, it says something about kerosene. Tell us a little bit about how this tractor's fueled and how it started.
Well, most of this era tractors, you started them on gas, but then they ran on kerosene. Once you got them hot, then they kicked over to kerosene. So it's really got 4 gas carburetors, but then 2 water injection carburetors. but you don't use those anymore, you just run them on gas. But there actually is 6 carburetors on that tractor.
Can you imagine tuning up all 6 all the time?
It's a challenge.
You've got to be a little bit of a chemist.
You just got to learn it. You know, it's like anything else. When you learn it and you listen, you kind of get it tuned in and hope it stays there.
What is it about preserving this kind of agricultural history that makes it something you really want to do?
Well, it is exactly that. I'm 70 and I won't be around that long. But if you don't preserve this stuff, more of it went to the scrap yards than you're ever going to see. So they don't make them anymore. So you gotta kind of get, as it's a fever. It's worse than drugs. And but once you get started, I mean, I got junk at home that my wife says, what do you do with it? And I said, I look at it and I listen to it. And that's about the end of it. But it's nice to preserve this stuff. And if you look at the crowd, they like to come look at it. So it's worth preserving.
Yeah, that's a good feeling, right?
It is a good feeling. Yep.
So what is it about coming across the Chesapeake Bay from western Maryland over to here to the eastern shore to Tuckahoe?
Well, first of all, when you come to the eastern shore, it's like coming to Iowa. It is the greatest farm ground we got in Maryland. And the people over here are great. This is a fantastic show. It's all run by volunteers. They really take care of us and they appreciate us coming. I think that's the biggest thing. They really let us know that they appreciate us coming. And it's a good place to come, spend the weekend, and putt around, have fun.
And 50 years of Tuckahoe now.
50 years, yep.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
It is, and I hope it keeps going. But it's like anything else. The older ones die off, and if the younger ones don't come up, they'll have a tough road. But I hope they keep it going.
When you drive your granddad's tractor or you drive the Flaming 4, you got to feel pretty happy about it.
I'm happy with what I got. It's good. I got 2 good tractors.
All right, Robert, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Robert Riggs with his Flaming 4. He's got a couple other tractors here at Tuckahoe, and the whole family's having a good time. Hey, thanks a lot for catching Classic Tractor Fever. If you like steamy tractor stories, be sure to check out these other pre-30 tractor features. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we'll keep more Classic Tractor Fever stories headed your way.